Sue. It's been over a month since Aldon Smith applied for reinstatement from his year-long suspension for violating the league's substance abuse policy. The league said his suspension falls under the collectively bargained substances of abuse policy, and many steps have to be satisfied within 60 days of the player's application for reinstatement before it can be granted. Ian Rappaport is reporting that sources Smith is setting up a meeting with Roger Goodell or high-ranking official to state his case for reinstatement. The Raiders are tied with the Patriots for the best record in the AFC. Should they want Aldon Smith back?
Yeah, of course. He's a good player, really good player, an impact player. The question is, should he be allowed back? And my sense of that, Stephen A., he's been off a year already. I take the issues he's had very seriously, not just failing the substance abuse policy, which doesn't mean as much to me, but especially the hit and run and mainly the drunk drive, the DW, the DUI. I drive in my car with my kids. I don't want any drunk drivers on the road, like any. I'm sympathetic to the idea that their judgment is altered when they're drunk and then they make bad decisions. Right, but I'm not sympathetic to the idea that they actually go ahead and do that and endanger my children, on the road. That said, if the punishment is such that after a certain amount of time, your case is reviewed, then you can't just summarily dismiss the idea of his reinstatement without reviewing the case, unless you believe that it's so beyond the pale that he should never be reviewed. But that's not the rules that are in place right now. And I don't think we need to be overboard in our kind of punishment of this guy simply because we don't like what he did. He served his time. It is time to review and see if he's ready.
Well, here's where I differ. I disagree with you, first of all. Secondly, I'm not devoid of compassion. I don't think he should be banned. It's not like I don't believe he should ever play in the NFL again. And of course, the NFL says you're suspended for a year, so the year is up, and this is the time where they get to review the case. Me, however, I would not allow him back into the league this year. He would have to wait and then start off the season. You have to show me that you have the intestinal fortitude and the wherewithal to endure OTAs, to endure a training camp, to endure preseason and go into the regular season, that you can do all of these things while making sure you're not inebriated. I would like you to keep in mind, you brought up your kids and you talk about driving with your kids. I'm the same way. I'm a daddy too. Guess what? Not only was this dude drunk one time, it was at 7 in the morning, man. You talking about when kids going to school. Yep. This ain't in the middle of the night. First of all, there's no excuse at any time to get behind the wheel of a car when you're inebriated. I get that. Please don't get me wrong. But at the same time, you come from a club at 1 in the morning and stuff like that. There's less people on the road, and I'll be damned if any kid got any business being in the streets that time of night. 7 in the morning? That's when school buses are coming around. That's when kids are standing on the side, on the corner, waiting for the school bus to come and stuff like that. Come on now. So when I look at it from that perspective, you're going to come back and instantly you're going to be thrusted into the hype and hysteria of the black hole and the Oakland Raiders and the 10-2 season there. You know how it is. You're euphoric. You're in the celebratory mood. You're having success. That usually lends itself towards you, revisiting some of those transgressions that you may have suffered from before, because you're in that state of mind where the world is beatable. You're the king, etc. No. He's not a part of this. Pump the brakes. If I'm Roger Goodell and the NFL, I'm not saying I don't listen to the case. I'm not saying I don't look out for him. I'm not saying I don't help him. But I don't let him back in now. I make him wait until the end of the season.
I think there's a lot of wisdom in what you said in principle, in terms of looking at it kind of generally. But I think if the time has come to review, and they talk to him, and they are satisfied that he is in a mental condition to play, then he's already served his year.
Hold on. They felt similar about Josh Gordon. Even though he wasn't allowed back on the field, they modified their rules a little bit, let him back with the team to hang out, work out, practice with the team, and then a week before he was due to get back on the field, he had to, Yeah,
but he's not Josh Gordon. It's not fair to hold that against.
No. What I'm saying is,
Aldon Smith.
I think it's very fair, and the reason why I think it's very fair is because he has just as many, if not more transgressions than Josh
But
Gordon.
he is an individual, and he needs to be judged on the merits of his own behavior.
But again, whether it's your court system, whether it's a job or anything else, when there's precedent that's established, even if it didn't involve you directly, that's usually used as judgment to making a decision about somebody else.
It had recidivist kind of, okay.
I'm saying it happens.
Yeah.
It happens.
We got to go. We got to move on.
Yeah, I want to revisit an earlier conversation that we had, which I thought was very interesting. So we asked you guys to weigh in on who of the big three you would let go. And I just want to make sure, in case people didn't know, Stephen A. said Steph Curry and Max said Klay Thompson. Here's the results. 44% said they would let go of Klay, 32% Durant, 24% Curry. Did our followers get that right?
Yeah, exactly right, in that order. You got to keep Steph. He's the engine. Kevin Durant's the second most talented player in the world, top three certainly. And then Klay is excellent. I love Klay, but he's largely the beneficiary of the team he's on.
I respect where everybody's coming from. I also respect the fact that they're wrong. I'd put my basketball knowledge up against anybody on this planet. That's how I feel. I'm not changing my mind. I love the hell out of Steph Curry. He's big time. But I'm just looking at basketball on both ends of the floor. My position stands.
Interesting conversation, though. Coming up. Our next guest called it the worst performance he has seen from any team this year when the Jets got demolished by the Colts on Monday Night Football, losing 41-10. We also discussed earlier how Doug Peterson called his team out for not playing hard after the Eagles lost to the Bengals. Damian Woody in the house with his crispy line. How we doing, my friend?
You took the words right out of my mouth, Molly. Chris.
Looking good.
What's up, my man?
What's up with
good?
you, boy?
That's a straight razor, right? You went with the straight razor with the alcohol and everything, like yesterday, I would say.
Man, it's laser sharp.
Yeah.
It's laser sharp. Yeah. What's the deal?
That was real bad last night.
Yeah,
That was real bad.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah, it was.
Damian, how do you know when a football team's quit?
Wow. Well, first of all, go ahead.
The reason why it's important that we ask you that question is because, just for the purposes of this, we're watching other shows. Like Ryan Clark was on Mike and Mike this morning, talking about how he has a problem when folks say you quit, because a lot of times he sees effort out there. People just ain't effective or efficient, which is why we want to know, what is quitting? Define to us how you can see it. What did you see last night?
For me, first of all, let me say, as a former player, one of the last things you want to do is really question other player and say that they quit.
Right.
But with that being said, what I saw on TV last night, and particularly I look on the defensive side of football, because defense is usually defined by hustle. You know what I mean? Like guys sprinting to the football, getting after it. What I saw from the Jets last night on the defensive side of football, it was probably the worst effort that I've seen from any team all year. I mean, take, for instance, the Jets defensive line. Now, coming to the season, that was supposed to be the strength of the team. They got a bunch of guys who are, star name players going against the Indianapolis Colts offensive line, which is the weakness of their team. Andrew Luck had all day to throw back there last night. All day. And when you look at the Colts offensive line, they got a rookie at center. They got a rookie at right tackle. A second year right guard. I mean, this is a unit that's been bad. So you would have thought going in, okay, this is a matchup that the Jets should just dominate and get after Andrew Luck. Didn't see any of it. Nothing. Guys weren't even registering on a stat sheet last night from the defensive line. Then when you look at Andrew Luck throwing passes all over it, guys were just busting coverages, guys running wide open. I didn't see anybody like angry, pissed off, or any of that.
I totally agree.
From the defensive side of football.
I think I could take a step further and tell me what you think of this. What I'm thinking is, I can't readily recall another nationally televised game in any sport where I saw a team quit to that extent. Like, I think if someone said, what's the, a short list of the quittingest team you ever saw, that's on it. Like you said, this year, but when was the last time you saw it to that level where it's like, can you guys try a little bit? There was no effort.
Yeah, and the thing that disappoints me is, you just look at last week when they played New England. I mean, they took New England to the brink last week. And to come back this week on national television and to put out that type of performance, to me, it speaks to the character of the team. Because you shouldn't have that type of effort displayed on national television. Listen, Your resume is being put out there every single time you step between the white lines. 31 other teams are going to look at that tape, look at your effort. That's your signature. That's your moment. And to put that out there, come on, man. That's ridiculous.
Let me say a couple of things, and I'm just going to go here. First of all, I'm a diehard Yankee fan. One of the things that I love most was George Steinbrenner. I used to love when you'd see him in a suite and somebody made a mistake and he was ready to raise holy hell. Yeah, he might have overreacted. He might have been too much, but it was clear if you're going to wear his uniform and play for his franchise, the last thing in the world that man had better ever question about you is your effort. It better not happen. And that's what I always appreciated and loved about George Steinbrenner. If I were Woody Johnson, not that this is plausible because there's a union, there's a players association, this is one of those rare moments I believe the owner would have been justified in walking into the locker room trying to withhold dudes' checks. This is one of those moments. That's how bad it was in that first half yesterday. I could not believe how I saw guys literally, am I lying, walk into the end zone. Like, walk. And guys not even come at them. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And then I'm going to go here. Look, man, this is more applicable to college football than the NFL. But there's only 5 black coaches in the NFL. And we look at the big-time college football, we don't see too many, of African Americans in these positions. And Max and Molly, and he'll know where I'm going here with this, the opportunities are so scarce. You cannot have a black coach and the effort of the players is being questioned because everybody ain't Jeff Fisher, especially the brothers. And you ain't getting that kind of latitude and leeway. You mess that up, that's the kind of stuff that cost you the most, because what the owners don't say quietly, but all the African-American coaches fully understand this, is that when it comes to young men, a sport like basketball, a sport like football, where you have predominantly African Americans playing the sport, when you don't perform, that's one thing. But when your effort is questioned, it's a direct assault on the coach, because they look at that coach and they say, you can't control these dudes. They can't even go out there and fight for you. What I need you for? That's what happens. And that's why you can question efficiency. You can question game planning and schemes and all of this other stuff. But when you are a black coach and the effort of the players are being questioned, it is the ultimate death knell. And those players know it. And to go out there and perform like that last night is just so shameful. I can't even say anything else.
As a former member of the Jets,
did I say anything wrong, by the way?
No.
All right.
I mean, is there something with the organization? I always say a fish rots from the head down. And the Jets seem to me, as a Giants fan, I'm always laughing at them. It's always like a dysfunctional organization. When I had my Jets fans' friends, and when they have kids, I'm like, why would you do that to the kid? Why don't you just raise him a Giants fan? Be happy.
I asked my boy Jeff. You know my boy Jeff, y'all man. I got one of my best friends, Jeff Brown, in L.A. Listen, he's one of the best people I know in my life, man. One of my best boys from high school in Queens, New York. Man, what he does to my godchildren is shameful. He's got them as Jets fans and Mets fans.
Right.
How bad can he be? I tell this to Jeff all the time, my godson Nicholas, man. To subject my godson to this, to being a Jets fan.
And sign him to a life of
misery.
But
I gave a pass once Bowles was there, but now.
So is there something about the organization that leads to this level of dysfunction?
I always say everything starts at the top and works its way on down. I mean, you look at all the really good organizations, what do they all have in common? They're strong at the top, and the message resonates on down.
I feel bad for Todd Bowles, that this is his shot at head coaching with the Jets. I feel bad for him.
Gotta leave it there.